Andy and Sue is a typical case study with 10 questions, and you've got 20 minutes to do it. So let's take a look at the case study to start with to see what we've got and who we're talking to. Remember to take a good 8 to 10 minutes to digest the case study, make notes that you need to do along the way. So let's head into that now. So here we go. Here's the first bit. Let me move out the way so you can read that then. Andy and Sue are buying their first property in the UK. They've lived and worked in Germany. Interesting. They rented there, of course, like most Germans do. Andy is 28 and a structural engineer. Just talked about that, didn't we? He feels he has excellent prospects with his new employer. Nice one. Including the opportunity to work in Eastern Europe. He loves it out there, doesn't he? His current salary is 50 grand per annum. So a good salary. Nice and easy to work out affordability there, isn't it? Now, Sue is expecting their first child in 3 months' time. That's lovely. And they've agreed that she will not look for a new job for at least 1 year. Obviously preferring to look after the child and all those lovely things. And good for her too. They saw a Victorian house. Victorian? Okay, 19th century stuff there. They loved and offered £290,000 against the asking price of £295,000. That's not too bad, is it? They've saved £29,000 for a deposit, plus enough to cover initial moving expenses. So they've got a good deposit there, so a good percentage. You don't need a calculator to work that out, do you? And they've got money to cover their removal expenses. So around about a 90% loan to value there or thereabouts. They understand that the lender that their advisor has recommended requires a higher lending charge, but don't understand this. So the high lending charge, of course, is payable usually over 75% loan to value, and it's a fee that's payable to secure a high lending mortgage. They're also anxious to ensure the property represents a sound investment. Nice one. So surveys coming our way, eh? Second part for you. Andy's father has offered to act as a guarantor if required, because Andy's income is good, but it's not as good that, for a mortgage of £260,000. Andy would like to know what obligations this imposes on his father. Obviously, guarantor is a major obligation. They effectively sign the mortgage deed, and they're up for every single monthly payment that you're ever due to make. So it's a hell of a thing. Should seek independent advice as well, legal advice at least. They're unsure what mortgage products would suit their circumstances, but wish to maximise their future borrowing capacity. There's the identified need for the mortgage product. And maximising their future borrowing capacity means paying down the mortgage, isn't it? So an interest-only mortgage is not what we're looking for here. That's a capital and interest. So they can make payments off the capital and maximise their future borrowing. They've friends who have foreign currency loans, do they? And would like more information on them. Foreign currency loan wouldn't be appropriate because Andy is paid in pounds, so that would be a currency risk there. They also wonder if, while Sue is not working, a low start arrangement may be appropriate and would like details of any suitable schemes. Low start mortgages haven't been around for donkey's years. But a lot of people organise an interest-only mortgage, which is a temporary fixture, and then a few years later they convert to repayment mortgage, and that's often known as a low start. Their advisor will receive a proc fee of $220, so she's got to disclose that. Lenders also offer various property insurance options. Of course they do. There'll be a block policy and contents insurance. Andy and Sue are particularly interested in the index linking option and wonder whether this could be a result of over-insurance. Interesting one, that. With a buildings insurance policy, the sum insured will increase each year in line with index linking. Now, they don't index link it with the CPI or RPI. They index it with a special rebuilding cost index. So it shouldn't really over-insure because of that. It's not using the CPI or the RPI, which often is out of sync with building costs. So I've taken you through that case study. I've also added a bit here and there, haven't I, just to give you a bit more flavour, because you need to remind yourself of the kind of topics that you think that case study is going to bring out. And they do. So let's have a look at some of the questions then, and we'll go through these one by one. So let's go to the first page of questions. We obviously can't see that, so let's zoom in and see what we've got here then. Number one, in the circumstances indicated, the lender is likely to be most interested in which one of the following details on the mortgage application form. So which one is most likely to be of interest to the lender? So let's see if we can eliminate or keep some of these, shall we? A, Sue's most recent annual salary. She's not working now, so her income is not being taken into account. B, Andy's former UK employment history. He's been working 5 years for his previous company, or his current company, his previous company, so they're not going to look at that, are they? C, their property rental history. Ding! The fact is that property rental, they're renting in Germany, they'll want to know that they've been making every payment needed. D, their lack of current dependents. Well, that's a bit silly, isn't it, really? I'm not sure if you're allowed to ask that question either. So C would be the right answer there, their property rental history. Nice one. Okay, next question. With regards to available survey and valuation products, their stated objective. Okay, remember they wanted to make sure that the property was well looked after. They're anxious to ensure the property represents a sound investment. And it's a Victorian gaff as well, so it's quite old. So what are we looking at here then? With regards to available survey and valuation products, their stated objective indicates that A, the report commissioned by the lender will be adequate. The basic valuation is not right for a Victorian property or of that price anyway, it's ridiculous. B, they should ensure they have some comeback in the future. Okay, well, the full building survey will give plenty of suability, if you like. If the surveyor, if she doesn't report all the right issues, you can sue the surveyor. So B is probably a good answer. C, a middle-of-the-road approach provides sufficient guarantees. That will be the home buyer's report, and it doesn't really give you sufficient guarantees. D, whilst all options should reveal defects, cost is the main consideration. Well, they've never said that. They want to make sure that the property represents a sound investment. So the answer for that one then would be B. They want a full building survey here. Let's not muck about with Victorian properties. Okay, nice one. Next question then, number 3. The mortgage repayment method which matches their stated objective. Now remember their objective then was they want to make sure their future mortgageability is maximised. They want to make sure that they can borrow. Future borrowing capacity is maximised. So a capital interest mortgage is needed here. So is it A, include a gradually reducing interest element? Ding! That might be the one because that's a capital interest mortgage. Because first few years, of course, it's massive interest payments and then it reduces. B, support by low risk investment products. That would be an ISA or endowment mortgage, interest only. C, require a specified rate of capital growth. Again, that's an endowment or ISA mortgage. D, offer potential tax-free lump sum at maturity. That would be a pension mortgage, wouldn't it? So you see what they're trying to do there. So again, A would be the answer there because it's a capital and interest. Nice one. Okay, let's go on to our next page of questions then, and we'll zoom in here. Okay. Number 4, when assessing the affordability of their application. Okay. A, Andy and Sue must undergo a full affordability assessment. Well, I would suggest that's the right answer, wouldn't you? B, Andy could choose self-certify. That's not been around since 2008. C, Andy could elect to be treated as a business customer. That's nonsense because he's not. D, the lender could offer Andy and Sue an execution-only process. That sounds pretty painful, doesn't it? You know, executing your borrowers before they're even borrowed. No, that's ridiculous. That means that there's no advice given, and the lender wouldn't do that on mortgage. Not on their situation anyway. Just wouldn't happen. So A is the answer there. Nice one. Okay, next question then. To comply with MCOB rules on disclosure, Andrew's advisor must inform him of the lender's proc fee. Well, they do, don't they? So the answer there, I can go straight to that one then. We've got B, the advisor must inform Andrew of the exact amount of the fee. The other ones are just sort of red herrings answers. That's you just have to do that. That's just, it's the right thing to do anyway. Don't forget your broker fee. You need to inform them of that as well, of course. And any commissions that are coming your way need to be shown in the key features or the KFI documents later on down the line, for the insurance especially as well. Good. Number 6 then. If they opt for a tracker mortgage, Bank of England tracker mortgage, the interest rate they will pay will be influenced by decisions made by. It's an interesting question, isn't it? Tracker mortgage, of course, is the Bank of England's base rate, which is determined by the Bank of England's As you can see, they've given you Financial Policy Committee or the Monetary Policy Committee. That's quite an interesting little twist, that one. The answer is B there. It's the Bank of England's Monetary Policy Committee. But similar question there, financial policy. You can see people going eeny, meeny, miny, mo. The FCA don't do it. They'd like to. And UK Finance have got nothing to do with it at all. They're just a trade body. But that's the one. It's the Monetary Policy Committee, who look at the more strategic aim of monetary policy as opposed to interest rates. There's more to it than just interest rates, monetary policy. Good, nice little few questions coming through here, isn't it? Let's go on to the final list of questions then. Let's go on to question number 7 here. With regards to their interest in foreign currency mortgages, I thought this would crop up as a question. They should be aware that these are only appropriate when sterling is in decline. No, that's a silly thing to say, because sterling declines and it falls and gains in value against other currencies all the time, particularly over 25 years. B, such a mortgage is only possible while Andy is paid in sterling. Well, that's the opposite, actually. He's paid in sterling, so he shouldn't be looking at a foreign currency mortgage. D, new loans must be based on the euro. You can actually do any foreign currency you want: yen, dollar, euro. D, consideration should wait until Andy's income basis changes. I like D. If Andy suddenly got paid in euros, then yeah, you might want to consider a foreign currency mortgage. They're incredibly dangerous, and lenders just don't like them here in the UK anymore anyway. They've been put off by the extra rules they have to abide by, warning people left, right and centre. It's not a good thing to go for. So let's move on for that one. Number 8 then. If a claim is made under the higher lending charge policy, remember the higher lending charge? It doesn't want us to work it out. What are they looking at here? They're looking at what's happening to the guys if a claim is made, aren't they? Let's have a look at these then. So if a claim is made under higher lending charge policy. Now here's the rule on this before I look at the answers and questions for you. Higher lending charge, or an indemnity guarantee policy as it's officially known as, is something that the lender buys. It's insurance, they buy it. They use money that the borrower gives them, of course. So the lender buys it and it's in the lender's name. So if the borrower defaults on their mortgage and they have to be repossessed and there's a loss made by the lender can claim the loss from the insurance company to the value of the indemnity policy, subject to a 20% excess typically. And the insurance company pays the lender. Lender pays off the mortgage, everyone's happy. But you see, the insurance company, because this is general insurance, like to see who caused the problem, and under the right of subrogation, they have the right to go to Andy and Sue and demand the money. They won't get it because Andy and Sue won't have it, but that's the rule of subrogation. So looking at the options there, we've got a few options there, haven't we? A, will have their mortgage payments met for a fixed period. No, that's silly, isn't it? Because it's being repossessed now. Will have no further obligation with regards to the mortgage. Well, they will do if there's still some shortfall. C, could be forced to repay the amount paid out under policy. I like that one, under subrogation. D, may be legally obliged to pay additional compensation to the lender. That's a bit wrong, isn't it? Poor guys have just been repossessed. You've got the insurance company after them as well, and then the lender wants to legally oblige them to pay additional compensation. No, that's just ridiculous. So the answer there, number 8, would be C, which is a good answer, isn't it? Okay, let's go on to the next question then. Number 9. Andy's father, now he's the guarantor, isn't he? So let's take a look at the obligations then. A, entitled to be released from his obligations on request. That's nonsense. He can't. It's the lender's decision, not his. B, only relieved of his responsibilities with the lender's permission. That's a good one. That's a nice one. C, responsible for ensuring Andy and Sue make payments when due. Well, he can encourage them, but he's not responsible for it. D, only required to make payment when the high lending charge leaves a shortfall. Clever little red herring question, that one. Answer that one is wrong, isn't it? So B would be the answer here. The lender has to give permission for the guarantor to be released from their covenants. That's the legal wording for you. Hey, we're on 9 out of 10 so far. Let's see if we can get 10 out of 10. Last question then. Let's just zoom out and zoom in again. Here we go. Number 10. With regards to the index linking facility, okay, under buildings insurance policies, Andy and Sue should be made aware that this is now compulsory for both buildings and contents. No, it's not. It's an optional extra, so it's a bolt-on, isn't it? A rider. B, increases will be matched to the market value of the property. Now that's wrong as well, because it's nothing to do with the property going up in price or general inflation measured by CPI or RPI. Remember, the index linking is done by the rebuilding cost index, what it costs for building materials and building costs. That's the index they attach it to. C, reductions may be negotiated subject to indemnity clause. Okay, we'll come back to that one. Reductions are only granted when the property prices has fallen. Okay, so we've got an interesting one here, haven't we? We've got 4 there we're not really too keen on. So with regards to index linking facility, A is not correct, we said that. We've got B is not correct, we said that. C looked interesting, come back to that one. D, reductions are only granted when property prices are, again, that's wrong. So C is the answer, even though we don't know it is. That's clever, isn't it? Reductions may be negotiated subject to an indemnity clause. That actually makes sense, because if they want to increase the cover by, say, 10%, the lender or the insurance company will say, yeah, okay, you can, but actually we're not actually going to pay the full amount if the amount you need to rebuild the cost is actually more, and we were right and you were wrong, then we're going to claim for that. So an indemnity clause means the insurance company has the right to claim against you in the future. It's a nasty bit of sentencing there, but actually we got there by the 3 wrong answers, which is actually not a bad way of doing it. All right, so what do you think of that then? We got 10 questions. Did we get 10 out of 10? Maybe we wobbled a bit on the last one, but if truth be told, you don't need to worry too much about the getting 10 out of 10 on every question. It'd be nice if you did, but you just need to pass the exam. So that's a nice one there for you on Andy and Sue. Hope that's been useful.